In 1984, James Cameron directed one of the greatest action movies of all time, and released it onto a world unaware of the kind of unexpected gem that they were about to see. Many of us look back on the beefcake era of cinema either with laughs or with cringe, but very few of us ever talk about how this movie subverted expectations of the genre entirely by a simple casting decision. What if the bankable beefcake superstar was actually the villain, while a scrawny C-list actor with limited credits to his filmography was the hero? This surprise decision resulted in The Terminator, a surprisingly low-budget action movie that combined everything from sci-fi, film noir, and even romance to create one of the most iconic action movies of all time, outgrossing more than 10 times its original budget. There's even an argument to be made about the first Terminator being a slasher film in disguise as an action movie. However, as iconic and beloved as the first movie was, Cameron would once again subvert expectations of the genre when it came to its arguably more successful sequel, Terminator 2: Judgment Day. Hey everyone, I'm Sebastian from Cinemageddon Reviews, and here I am adding another entry into the One Villainous Scene playlist, assuming Nando will accept a second entry since my first one became a surprising hit for my channel, by talking about one of my favorite movies of all time as well as one of my favorite villains of all time, Robert Patrick as the T-1000. The science of why the first Terminator movie works so well in my opinion has to do with casting. There is nobody who could have filled the role of Sarah Connor, Kyle Reese, or even the T-800 other than the wonderfully talented Linda Hamilton, Michael Biehn, and some Austrian bodybuilder whose name always escapes me. Don't think he's ever done anything else with his career after this movie though.
Fuck you, asshole.
Linda Hamilton was the perfect damsel in distress turned future ass-kicking badass. Michael Biehn was the perfect everyman who could easily blend in and disappear from the crowd. And what can I say about Schwarzenegger that just showing footage of his surprisingly bone-chilling performance won't be enough? What Cameron did was unlike anything that typical action films were known for doing at the time, making the action hero the bad guy. This was practically unheard of in the era of Schwarzenegger, Stallone, Lundgren, Seagal. And in an age where subverting expectations and messing with audience anticipation is often met with mixed results, this decision would probably have been received more controversially had it been handled in the wrong hands. Now you're probably wondering, why am I still talking about the original Terminator over its sequel for which the video was about? Because it's important that we address what the original did so well that made the decisions on the sequel that much more compelling and successful. Terminator 2: Judgment Day was released a day shy of the 4th of July to equally positive reception and financial success, breaking box office records and laying the groundwork for the advancements of special effects in movies. Continuing the story of the first Terminator movie where a now pregnant Sarah Connor drives away into the sunset after destroying the T-800 but losing the love of her life in the process, Judgment Day follows the impending doomsday narrative of the first film, along with the concept of both a killer and a bodyguard being sent from the future into the past. Not to kill Sarah Connor this time, but the future leader of the Resistance, her son, John.
She's not my mother, Todd.
It's important to point out that up until the release of the movie, there was no indication of who the killer or the bodyguard was going to be. Unless you saw the trailer for the movie that gave the fucking twist away, one in a long tradition of Terminator movies, having their big twist given away by the fucking market.
Same make.
These were taken at the West Highland Police Station, 1984. You were there.
Same model.
These were taken today.
You have to let me see my son. He's in great danger.
New mission. Once, he was programmed to destroy the future. Now, his mission is to protect it.
Thank you, Mr. Blow the Picture for me.
For now, at least, let's pretend that trailers for this movie did not give anything away. It's 1991 and the world is still recovering from Reaganomics, and you hear of this new sequel to The Terminator and get excited since you loved the first movie so much. As far as anyone was concerned at the time, there were two Terminators this time, one being a new model of the T-800 from the first film, reprised once again by Arnold Schwarzenegger, while the other was a new model called the T-1000 played by Die Hard 2 actor Robert Patrick. Once again, the casting is reversed. Kinda. We know Schwarzenegger was the antagonist of the first film, and during the first few minutes of the movie, Patrick gives off an equally menacing performance. Neither of them look like the hero in this story as far as their actions are concerned. However, after one suspenseful chase scene between both Terminators as they try to make contact with John, and we get this really amazing shot of Arnold pulling a shotgun out of a box of roses. Why yes, I did get that reference, not like they had a song of theirs written for the film and playing in the beginning and later in the credits. Both Terminators are locked and loaded with a 10-year-old John Connor sandwiched in between. And then Arnie says this.
Get down.
Suddenly, the ambiguity goes out the window. The killer of the first film has been upgraded to bodyguard. So you're probably wondering, okay Sebastian, I'm confused. This movie just reverted back to traditional roots of action movie casting with Arnold being the hero. How is this casting subverting any expectations? I'm glad you asked. This actually leads me to the one villainous scene I chose for this video, and one that is so subtle you wouldn't have expected it.
You okay?
Fine. Say, that's a nice bike.
No, not that one.
Call to John.
No, not that one either.
Yes, officers, there's something wrong?
Have you seen this boy?
I was actually debating whether or not I should do that one. But no, the one villainous scene from this film that I chose is this.
Are you the legal guardian of John Connor?
That's right, officer. What's he done now?
Could I speak with him, please?
Could if you were here. He took off on his bike this morning, so he could be anywhere.
Do you have a photograph of John?
You gonna tell me what this is about?
I just need to ask him a few questions. He's a good-looking boy. Do you mind if I keep this picture?
No, go on. There was a guy here this morning looking for him, too.
Yeah, a big guy on a bike. Has that got something to do with this?
No. I wouldn't worry about him. Thanks for your cooperation.
This scene right here is the proof of concept for the formula used in this movie. Arnold's Terminator is a bulk, leather-clad biker riding a motorcycle while carrying a shotgun, both of which were stolen, while Patrick's Terminator is a skinny, clean-shaven man of small stature who is notably dressed as a cop, badge and everything. Before the big reveal of who the killer and who the bodyguard was, this scene served as a clever misdirect to throw away suspicion of who the real villain was supposed to be. Rewatching the movie afterwards, now with that prior knowledge, this scene becomes increasingly more frightening in context. Let's really look at this scene. This isn't some shady roughneck knocking on the door asking to see their son. As far as they're aware, this is just an ordinary police officer asking to speak to their delinquent son. Remember that, by the way. Thankfully, John is out of the house at the time, but the T-1000 is able to blend in so perfectly that he manages to not only get a readout on his location, but also gets a picture to use for visual reference. He even gets a tip on the possibility that there's another person who's looking for him, and assures them that there is nothing to worry about. Alfred Hitchcock would have been shitting a brick had he been alive at the time that this movie came out. This is without any doubt one of the scariest scenes in movie history simply because of the role reversal. The leather jacket wearing biker is the bodyguard, while the killer is a goddamn cop! Say whatever you will about how the police behave today, or hell, even back in the 80s and 90s. Police officers, more specifically LA police officers, share one common motto: to protect and serve. It's a part of who they are, it's ingrained into their vehicles. It's the standard that every police officer should live up to. What we are seeing here is a killer machine disguised as an LA police officer, blending into the environment seamlessly while hunting down a child with the intent of killing him. The powerlessness in that situation is astounding. Imagine being a juvenile delinquent, there's that word again, delinquent, and trying to sell the idea that this nice looking officer of the law is trying to kill you. Nobody would be on your side in that situation. Everything from this scene is perfect, from Patrick's performance to the directing to this moment where he looks up giving a small but subtle hint of what he's planning, before reverting back to the facade that he was able to sell. Robert Patrick gave without a doubt one of the greatest performances of his career with this film, as he switched back and forth between the monstrous side and the human side of the T-1000 with excellent precision. Much like how he was able to subvert expectations by making Schwarzenegger the killer in the first movie, Cameron was once again able to subvert expectations for Terminator 2 by making the killer an everyman in disguise. And in this one villainous scene, Patrick was able to sell the idea that not only could he be the killer, but that he had the stones necessary to take on Arnold goddamn Schwarzenegger, and to an extent, he actually succeeded. Almost. Also, before we end this video, I just wanted to point out that before Robert Patrick got officially cast to play the T-1000, the role was originally going to be played by Billy Idol. Yes, I'm serious. Thank you so much for watching, and if you like what you see here and you would like to see more, be sure to like, share the video with your friends, and subscribe for more content. And if you would like to support the show, then check out our Patreon page for bonus content and exclusive rewards, including the chance to request for a movie or show for us to review in the future. Once again, I would like to give a special shout out to Nando V Movies, who not only orchestrated this entire event, but also gave me the inspiration to want to talk about my favorite villains and what makes them so great. As always, I'm Sebastian from Cinemageddon Review signing out, and I'll see you on the wasteland.